you guys doing tonight?
We're not.
Nice. Great, great, great.
Good evening.
Hi, everyone.
Good evening,
Greetings,
everybody.
greetings, one and all.
Evening blessings and salutations.
Just making sure all of y'all have your volumes down and your phones on vibrate.
Pinky, run that back again, man. That's like such an intro just now.
You know what? Okay, back to the top again. How is everybody doing tonight?
Feeling good, doing good.
How have your day been? How have your week been so far?
Great.
Any interesting stories that anybody want to share? Any? Before we jump into Karita and Lisa, more interesting stories. No, nothing really too
No,
interesting.
let's dive into it.
Okay, so
No,
who
we
wants
can
to
go.
start first? We want to start with Lisa. So tonight we're gonna first, Lisa and Karita was on the Link Up for Life last month, right? And tonight we haven't had any guests that is wanting to come on to Link Up for Life. So we have them come back tonight so they could tell us about their experiences. So who we gonna start with? Who wants to start first?
Karita gonna go first.
I like how you volunteer me, Lisa.
I always do that to you.
So it was a nice experience. It was a nice experience. I did meet someone. He's a nice guy. We have a lot.
Did they go in your DM?
Yes,
Okay.
he slid into the DM, like they say. Yes, but he's a nice guy. We have a lot in common. He doesn't have any children though, so that scares me a little bit because I absolutely positively do not want any more kids.
Do he want kids?
No, I have two. I have a 21.
No, do he want kids?
Well, the fact that he doesn't.
I know you some know when he told me that he didn't have children, I kind of like whoop.
Yeah, there's a potential like he might want some kids.
I really like step back because yeah. But no, but he's a nice guy. I wouldn't mind meeting him in person. I don't know like what the future holds, but he's a nice guy.
Where does he live? Does he live close to you? Would that be a long distance relationship?
It would be definitely a long distance relationship because he lives all the way in the Virgin Islands.
Okay.
Which I only go there like maybe once a year, thanks to these outrageous airline tickets.
Oh yeah, they are so bad right now. They're so bad right now.
I'm trying to come home for Christmas, say a prayer, but right now it's like $1,500 for one plane ticket. It's just for a week and a half. That's really crazy. I just went to Jamaica and I bought 4 plane tickets round trip to Jamaica, and I didn't still spend $3,000. So
you know, a lot of people using Spirit these days because of that. Instead of prices.
I've seen horror stories about Spirit. Layovers are the craziest. They cancel flight, and the way my temperament is set up and my patience, that God decided not to give me any. I don't think Spirit is a good partner for travel.
Well, I have to just say this. I went home in May and I had a wonderful experience on Spirit. Like I spoke it into the universe, no problems. And I honestly had no layover. It went very smoothly going and coming back. So I'm going back.
And you're getting ready to go again, and you get some reasonable tickets, right?
Yeah. And so I'm praying that it will be the same, but it's not during the carnival season. So it's a little bit before it. So we'll see.
Okay. Yeah, but he's a nice guy. I look forward to meeting him for sure.
So was he the only guy that you spoke to, or do you all continue to speak, or?
Yeah, we still chat inbox. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, we definitely still chit chat for sure.
Did you get a lot of guys that reached out to you?
Actually, no, it was just that one fella.
Okay.
But I I had the opportunity to meet someone through work. So we shall see.
We shall see. Well, I think you're on the right track.
Let me say one thing. Would you encourage anybody else to take that leap of faith and have the same experience that you and Lisa had?
Absolutely. You know why? Because, and I've always wondered, because I see these like really great love stories about people who like slide into person's DM and then like they're married like for 15, 20 years. And like, like I know that love is out there. I guess God is still kind of like putting him together for me. Because he knows what I want. And see, this difference is I don't need a relationship. I want one. I want a friend that I can travel and hang out with and have good times with. So when that person is ready, I'm sure that God will align us so that we'll meet for sure.
And he will. He will. You just haven't met him yet. Or maybe you did. I don't know. Some people that say, Michael Bublé had a song, I just haven't met you yet. But you know what? This universe is so weird. You might have met him somewhere along the path and just didn't know that,
Mm-hmm.
So
She threw him in a box because he doesn't have kids.
Yeah, that was the only thing. He kind of like checked off a lot of the boxes.
Yeah. But if he don't want kids, because I was the same way. I used to say I didn't want to date guys that haven't been married or had kids, and then I keep meeting them. So
yeah.
So some of them just don't want to have kids, or some just didn't.
I didn't used to ask him. I guess like part of me was afraid to ask to hear the answer, so I just didn't bother ask the question. But yeah.
Okay, next time ask the question. Lisa, you're next.
I know.
I agree. You should have asked that question.
But I think Karita made it plain that she didn't want to date someone who didn't have children because she didn't want to deny him that opportunity if he wanted kids in the future. So
Okay.
I think if he approached you seeing or hearing that, then chances are that he probably doesn't want children either.
Yeah,
that's
why you have to have the convo.
True.
Mm-hmm.
I met two, unfortunately. I discarded them both after Hurricane Ian because neither one called or messaged me to see if I died, if I needed anything, if I was okay. And that was a big deal to me, especially because one of them, up until maybe the day before the hurricane, he was texting and calling. We'd only spoken once, but he was messaging me often ever since I gave him my number. After he sent me an inbox, I gave him my number shortly after because it was someone that I had mutual friends with. One of them was from home, one is from Georgia. And like the both of them, I can understand the one in Georgia probably not being aware of what that hurricane experience is, but the other guy from home, I was expecting at least, will you be okay? Are you okay? Something, and I didn't get any of that. And it was a turn off for me. It was a big turn off. I turned off one phone. I didn't turn off the other. Sorry, excuse me. It was a big turn off for me, and I've kind of, and he'll probably find out now if he's tuned in. I ignored him ever since. I've ignored his text messages and everything ever since.
Okay. All I gonna say to that is you should maybe check in. Maybe something wasn't right with him in his situation. There could have been a situation. Me saying there was, and I see what you're saying because I know your love language is acts of service and stuff like that. So, but it may have been a situation where he didn't know. I just making up something off the top of my head, or something going on in his life and he didn't, I don't know.
And that's the optimist in you, Pinky.
Yeah, I know.
And I don't give that kind of space because if you are that unaware of what's going on around you, you won't be able to keep up with me anyway. Which one of them did reach out last week. So like, what is that? Week and a half, 2 weeks after, I already have my power back on. So and the other part about that too, because most of my posts are public, I tend to extend the assumption that people tend to know whatever I share, even though they might not be on my page, they might not follow me, they might not be friends with me. It's just that assumption, and it's almost to a fault. But the irony of it is, the day or two we were without power for almost a week, and a day or two after I posted about our power being restored, I got a "Hey stranger" text, and that "Hey stranger" text is still unread because what is that? You understand? It'd be one thing if he came in and say, sorry, I fell off the dock the past couple weeks. I was busy with work. I was traveling. I didn't want you to need anything and I couldn't provide it. Whatever. It's just he didn't fill in that space, and I'm not gonna fill it in. I'm not gonna make up any excuses for him. It was just a big turn off from me. And once I'm turned off, it's really hard to come back.
Totally get it. Totally understand.
And the same question to you. Would you encourage anybody else to take the leap of faith and put themselves out there?
Yeah, for me, this was more about making myself available because I realized over the past year I really hadn't done that. So the experience was more for a benefit for me, whether anyone inboxed me or not. It was just me being open enough to receive it, because messages might come into my inbox all the time and be like, let me see what he looked like. Nope. And I hadn't really made that space. So once I said yes, I will do this, then I have to do the work behind it, which is, of course, making myself available to do that. So I would say, if anyone's kind of stuck, kind of stagnant, kind of in a rut, haven't been dating or haven't been able to find time to dating, just do it, because then you're naturally opening up yourself. And once you open up yourself, you're opening up the universe to complement that. And so then, even if you aren't expecting anyone, Johnny Blue might come out, and then you have the, what you call it, you have the I'm missing the word, you have the incentive to kind of pursue or see where that friendship or where that friendship could lead to a relationship.
Yeah.
We need some guys. I know guys, you don't have a hard time finding mates. It's very easy for men, I would assume.
Well, how come call them single?
I'm being sarcastic. I'm glad nobody could tell when I'm being sarcastic, because men, I guess they don't need, but we would really love, because what we want here on LNE is males and females represented. That's the goal. We want to hear your views. We may not agree. Pinky may not agree, but we still want to hear your views. And I may agree. You just never know with me, We need your take on it, right? So we need you to be commenting. We need you on the show. We need you to be making posts. So
step outside your comfort zone, because men are they're not talkers, they're doers.
They just do it. Yeah.
To, express themselves with words. For some of them, not all, but some.
And the thing about it is, it's not even necessarily about them speaking because they feel like they need the healing or they need to let people know. But when they speak, then women don't have to represent how they feel.
And y'all don't want us representing you guys.
Exactly.
You know what? People fear rejection too,
We are, every one of us.
They look from afar and they're like, I like him, I like how he looks, or she's kind of cool or whatever, and they want to approach. But I just think, like, with how the dating scene is, and some people are just out to like run games, and folks just don't know how to like test the water and like see if they're approachable. So sometimes they just look from afar and just don't approach, unfortunately. Out of the fear of rejection.
True. Well, that kind of and again, I want to thank both you and Lisa for deciding to step out and do it. And we hope that for next month that we'll have other people that are interested. And if nothing else, it allows us to ask you questions that maybe you did not even think about yourself, right? Because the process is not necessarily finding someone, but about learning more about yourself and what you want and why you want it. And what you're looking for, right? So there's
what Lisa said also, being open. I think that is very, I mean, I had to get there too, Lisa, where I had to open my heart. I was a special case. Only God will undo it. So, you know, me doing this stuff was God needed to do that. So I had to pray about that for a very long time. But you're right. What you said was right. And it was absolutely.
And I think that might be the challenge for men too, because they have to be open to, like Karita said, not just open to meeting someone else, but also open to rejection, because they're the ones that usually submit the bid. Women accept. And so they have a lot more where we can just sit back and wait, and we have the luxury of saying, okay, well, there's more, it's not true really, but there's more women than men, so there's more competition. They don't have that luxury. They have nothing to fall back on. So while I would be excited to see men put themselves in front of the cast like this to share their past experiences and what their expectations are, I think it's so much harder for them just based on that, because they can put all that out there and then we women just not respond. So it's almost as if they've failed twice. And now they've failed and people know about it. But I think if we just again reiterate, this is fun for me, just being able to speak about relationships and then share what I'm doing and what my expectations are. There are people who wouldn't know that unless I share it. And for men, a lot of women don't really know what, especially my age, I don't know what they want. Are you looking for someone to just, come over and cook and clean for you? You're looking for a sex partner? You're looking for someone to build a legacy with? You're looking for a wife? We don't know unless you say it. So even if it's somebody that I'm talking to right now, I wouldn't know unless I go through these lists of questions. And it'd be great if a man just comes on it uses this platform to just express that, to just share that with everybody.
And that's why we're always seeking men to come on the show. Go ahead, Karita. Sorry.
From my experience, like, y'all won't know this. Like, I'm very sociable, right? I'm extroverted, so like I get it. Like it should have been like an easy program for me to come on and just like chit chat with really good people, but like I was a nervous wreck from the night we met before the show, for the meeting of the show. I mean, the Wednesday, my stomach was in knots. Like I was like stressing. And then Thursday, I'm like, oh my God. Like I was like, my mom was like, girl, if you don't calm down and chill out. Like I was a nervous wreck. So like you do have to like step outside your comfort zone and just go with it. You just never know.
Well, you didn't.
And we have to, we go under these fake illusions that, you afraid of rejection, but every one of us are afraid of rejection. Some of us just sweat inside and you don't see the sweat. Some of us, hair might fall out on the pillow. We show up in so many unique ways in how we express ourselves when it comes to these things. So just know you ain't alone. We are afraid of it, and we've all been rejected multiple times. We'll be okay. We'll get through it together.
Speak out with a sweat and say.
I just making stuff up after.
Oh God, God, where are you going with that? Where are you going with that? Okay.
That was so bad. That was so bad. Thanks for calling me out, Yano.
The segue to that is that because it seems like it's so hard to necessarily find what each person wants, right? We pose the question, because I'm a believer that if you're in the box and it's not working, are you willing to come outside of the box, right? And for many people, outside of the box would be taking the chance to possibly entertain conversation, relationship with somebody abroad. You know, back in the day, you used to hear about mail order brides. So men have been doing this for a long time, right? But now women are traveling, and we have all these apps. We now have social media, so you can meet people via virtually, right? Have any of you all ever considered dating and possibly open to the idea of marrying somebody from another country?
Honestly, no. I never thought about it in the past. I do think about it now that I'm older. And I don't know like what would be the reason for me not to, you know what I'm saying? So I do like to travel, so that should be, you know, a fun thing to do, to explore. I think what gives me hesitation would be like their culture, maybe their religion might give me pause. Like how compatible can we be? So that's what would like kind of like give me pause. You know, like also you do hear like other nationalities like they don't really like Americans, right? That's what the saying is, right? We don't know that for sure, but you know, sometimes there's some conversations about, you know, that. And so like you're like, well, how would it even be if, you know, if we're not welcome in every part of the world? Like
Right.
Yeah. But I do have countries that I would not date. So
Oh, you know what? Be careful. Never say that.
I'm not saying about
that person pop up and you're like questioning yourself. But let me just read this quickly. Ellen said, I think it is possible once all cultural differences are discussed and understood by both parties. Family acceptance is another key factor. Nilomi said, I don't think there's an issue dating someone from a different country, but keep in mind there's always cultural differences. So that's I mean, a glaring thing, right? How about you, Mr. Llanos?
I don't have a problem with dating anyone from or another ethnicity at all, actually. I mean, I've done it in the past before. I think for me, the concern now is the distance. Will I do long distance? I don't think that's something I'm seeking, or, you know what I mean? Clearly, you know, the opportunity presents itself. You never know until you're in that moment, but that's not something I'm going towards.
Right.
But I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem. And again, of course, all the differences in the cultural backgrounds will definitely play a role. But you know, that's part of the exploring for me. It's exploration. That's what makes it, you know, a little more, I think, more interesting. Gives it a little bit more edge. So you learn about someone, they learn about me, and you learn about our backgrounds, and you know, it's a trail and everything. Again, at the end of the day, you know, for me, it's the person that. You know, it's just individual. It's not where they're from. For me.
For you. Right. Nikki just said, you know, he's international. Talking about you.
International player.
No.
She didn't say player, but she said, you know, he's international.
I agree with Llanos. I myself feel the same way. I ain't got a problem. Never say never. And even today, me and a couple of the guys, co-workers and so we were talking about it and so forth, you know. So yeah, I'll be open to that. But I would prefer regional, by saying regional, a Caribbean person, and even more specifically a VI. One of the reasons a VI ain't because of everything that we share in common, but you could do a instant, but not so much of an instant, but you could do a better background check. Because we are island, everybody know everybody. Hey, what about such and such? You know, but when you need to stuff, blah, 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 you know, that. And you get feedback, you get vibes, you get a feel, you know what I'm saying? And so that would be
but but in the big scheme of things, right? Honestly, in the big, I think we think that because we come from a small island, right? And somebody knows somebody that knows somebody.
Yeah.
But has that really served many people?
I think so.
At the end of the day?
I think so.
So Abba, if you write in with
experience, right?
Wait, Abba. If you
Uh,
vibing with a woman and you find out doing your little inventory, your little local inventory, you find out something about her from somebody else, you won't stop talking to her?
okay. Maybe you better understand if I tell you my experience. Okay.
Okay.
Or if you meet somebody and or somebody introduce you and they turn around and they say, oh, "Watch out, he's a whore."
This is gonna be a great story. I think I should listen. It's a good
Go
story. Go
ahead,
ahead,
Abba. Go
Abba.
ahead.
Okay.
Damn, Lisa, you laugh hard at that
But
one.
I
let
bring my
Abba tell you story. Let Abba tell you story. Thank you.
I brought my mother up here from home, as as she aged and so forth. And I went and I took her to the doctor. It turned out that one of the nurses there were from home, you know. So, after, I handle my business with my mother, me and she talk and so, and, she went out of town, and when she come back, we was going to link up and, look to pursue things.
Mhm.
All right. So, we've been talking and so forth. And I call home and I ask, hey, what your name, sister? And so, it's like, yeah, the stripper?
Wait. You sure you want to say this? Anyhow, go ahead.
That'll
Don't do it.
No,
How about
a
you?
man like me, any reasonable man, there ain't much of a difference between a stripper and a prostitute, just a stone throw
Come
away.
here. Come and get her.
Yes.
So
Huh?
anyway,
No, go ahead.
anyway, yeah, so, I had to ask them, I said, but, how come you didn't tell me about this, man? And they were like, they were shocked and disappointed. I knew. I find out. Check. Because, especially this particular individual, she all about getting and money and getting what she could get out of you. Suck you up dry within 3 months, 6 months, and then the step, you know? So,
So you found that out earlier.
oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Oh yeah.
So you're saying it helps you in determining whether or not you're going to pursue this person, right?
Of course.
But people change.
I
Some of them
understand
were
that. But
really
wait, Deborah, if you don't mind. I didn't just terminate her.
Oh,
I
okay.
gave it a chance to say because I figure we older now. We all pay each, How long you want to continue?
Or were you just more curious in because of the line of work she do?
So I
Oh,
give
she's
a
a
chance.
nurse.
And then when I see evidence that you ain't looking to change and you still there with this liberty, safe way. Adios. Huh?
She's a nurse now, though, right?
I hope she's still being a nurse. I really don't know what she's doing. I know, But listen, if it
No,
was,
I wouldn't do any 90-day fiance or love. What's that thing? Love is blind nonsense. I won't do that.
Well, okay. Well, I'm gonna ask everybody a question first because
Oh,
I
okay.
want to
Sorry.
say something about that. No problem. How about you, Lisa?
I
Lisa.
I am specific to I'm not international. I have my preferences. I would prefer someone from the African continent or the Caribbean. I don't want the culture to be so different that I'm having to learn a new language or relearn how learn how to live with whatever their nuances or whatever. But I think there's so much more commonality when either the race or the ethnicity or the culture is already similar, and then you can work around differences like religion and anything else that might come into play. But I'm partial to African countries and the Caribbean as far as dating outside of my culture. I would prefer someone from home, simply because I wouldn't have to learn too much. The only thing about dating someone from home is you have this 50% chance of dating someone that you're related to. And the other 50% chance is dating someone that's been in a long-term relationship with someone that you're close to. At our age, we probably don't have a big a big field to choose from because everybody's dated someone that we know. But those are the only two reasons that I wouldn't date someone from home, or that's the only two things that would make me really cautious about dating someone from home. But I could work around that as long as they're not a whore.
Why you bend your head?
Listen,
I just asked because you bent your head. So
I mean, because people, would hear things from others and not even give, those individuals a solid chance. I mean, you hear things. Somebody come to you and tell you something about somebody. I mean, maybe in the past. Everybody has a past.
Right.
True.
Everybody has a past.
Yeah, always will.
Some of us have very colorful past, but you change.
Some of us have some very dull passes, Janos.
Yeah, my past is very nice. My past is very humble, very quiet, very boring.
Nobody gonna make no stories out my past.
You have to be careful too, like hearing from someone about someone else. Someone's experience is not necessarily going to be your experience. That's what I think, right? And some people have agendas and motives as to why they try to sway people from other people. So you don't have to kind of be careful, like, taking into consideration someone's input, especially when dating, because you just never know. Their experience might be their experience.
True. That's true.
And people do change.
Sometimes we show up. The person I might show up to, just using Louis and Abacus there, but the person I might show up to for one guy might be a different person, not a different Lisa per se, but the way I'm perceived might be different. Or the way, if one guy come off like, outspoken, flamboyant, flashy, I might appear to him as being quiet and reserved. But the guy is quiet, I may come across to him as being loud. But when we're talking about the character of a man, the integrity of a man, that's not something that has a gray area. And so if someone says, you go watch Joe, because Joe that keep a woman, and that is a red flag, even though it's not something that person may have revealed to me. A friend whispering in your ear, you can't ignore that. As we mature, we learn that, people might have their own motives. Like Karita said, somebody might come and tell me Louis is a whore because they want Louis for themselves. That's true also. But
me as an example for that, why do we keep doing that?
Because you have humanity, brother.
I just said to use Louis because they're there.
Louis is a comedian tonight for sure.
But so we also have to be aware of what somebody's motive is for coming and telling us something about somebody else. But like in Abba case, it just come out. Oh, you mean a stripper? I mean, that person didn't have no reason. They could have just easily said, oh, she's your cousin. That person didn't have a motive behind that. So you also, like Karita said, you have to consider why someone is sharing the past or any negative aspect of somebody that you might be trying to get to know.
And I move in silence too, so.
Sure.
Sita.
How about you, Trina?
You would think I thought about this. Yes. So it depends. So if they live over here, but I ain't going over there to find them. Yeah. I didn't think that I would consider it until I started doing some research, and then it kind of like opened up my mind to some stuff. But being fond of it, you could tell from my voice, I'm not too fond of it, because people date outside of the culture for many different reasons, right? And sometimes people are dating outside of the culture for because they like the diversity and they want to learn more about somebody else. So I'm saying this because I have two sons that dating outside of the race culture. My oldest son, he always did. He liked the diversity in the cultures. He liked learning about them, learning their foods and certain things. And he actually was looking for a certain type of woman. And I'm not saying he didn't find it in our culture or in our race. He just found it in these people that he was friends with. So he was friends with them at first, and then the friendship turned into something deeper. That was my oldest son. Then the second one, he had some mishaps with the women of our thing, and he was young. He wasn't even 21, and he decided he done with that, and he gonna try the next side. And so he went the next side, and he's happy in the next side. He's been there for years, right? The only thing well, they never said it. Like, you will hear a lot of, when I was doing the research and stuff like that, you'll hear a lot of men saying they don't want to date Black women because we this, we that, blah, blah, blah. That's not why my sons them choose otherwise, right? It just, like I said, the second son, he had some experiences, and so he decided to try something different. And when he tried it, he's still not in that relationship. So what I'm saying is, we see these situations and we think of it one way, right? Because of what we've heard. All Black women, this, that, and I rather this certain type. I rather the Latino them because they're more submissive, they're more giving, they know how to blah, 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 they know how to blah, blah, blah. What I want us to grasp and accept in our culture, because we keep using this, you know what? Let me answer that question and then let me come back to that before I get farther. But for Pinky, it's not something that I would want because of the diversity. I like learning about other people's culture. I have no problem. But to be in a relationship and having to do all these adjustments around and a person with a different culture, different belief system, et cetera, with all the different other things, it might be, I know, Lisa, you say I think relationships is a lot of work in general. So to me, that's just something added on top of it that I don't know if I necessarily want to deal with. So I'm not yes, of course, sure, no problem, but I am to the point, if they live in America and they've been here for a long time and blah, 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 sure, why not?
Basically, what you're saying is they have some Western values.
Go ahead.
Values. I want to add this too. There are some African cultures who are very similar to our culture, like Nigerians. Even their food is very, very, very similar to ours. So that's what I'm talking about. Some things is just not so far and so different. For me, as long as it's close and ain't too much, because I think relationships have enough difficulties already. But yeah.
Good point.
It's interesting because I have a friend who is from the US and made a decision several years ago that she was going to move to South Africa, Johannesburg. And she has been doing international traveling for a very long time and opened herself up to, when she would go and do her travels, she would go on dates. And I was hoping she was going to write something for tonight because she's in Dubai right now, but they had a surprise bridal shower for her. So I'm sure that's why she didn't get back to me. But
man, you gonna rub your elbows with money, man.
Who? Me?
You got a friend in Dubai? When in Dubai, you don't rub elbows with money.
I went to Dubai a couple years ago. Why you can't go to Dubai?
Baba, it costs the same amount to go to Dubai right now as it costs to go to St. Croix. So
no, to go to St. Croix costs more.
Yeah, right. So thanks.
To see less and do less.
Let me tell you, my trip to Dubai was $600. But anyway, so
okay, cool.
She actually was the first person like that I really got. I mean, I can't say that, but she was somebody that I got to follow her journey, and she was very open to it and is actually getting ready, like I said, to get married to someone that she met in Johannesburg. But she made that decision and she's living in Johannesburg right now. But it's just very interesting to me. Like I mentioned that, we always used to hear about mail order brides, and so men have been doing this for a long time, but it's very interesting that now women are more open up to it. But I think coming from the Virgin Islands, like in a way, we are very culturally diverse anyway, because, we're a melting pot of so many Caribbean islands. And so I don't think for me, like, to think about dating somebody, from another country would be like so really far-fetched. But of course, religion, crazy cultural differences, because I think I'm a person that's kind of open to learning about different cultures. It's just, I think my issue is always if it's going to be in a controlled kind of sense, you know, if I don't really like this or you don't really like this, we do whatever, right? And like Pinky said, I think relationships are hard enough as it is, and especially at this part of our lives, it could be difficult, but I think it's also how open people are to it. But I mean, I just think it's an avenue, because if you really want to find someone and you're having a hard time finding someone, you know, again, thinking inside the box that you're in, it might be an option. And again, like Pinky said, it might not even be somebody who's in another country. It could just be somebody who's from another country that lives in your vicinity or lives in, you know, close to you. And I just think that that's just something that people need to think about. If they're looking.
So I wouldn't travel, just so I can clarify, I wouldn't travel like I would, as much as I have this attraction right now for Nigerians. Shout out to my virtual boyfriend, Burna Boy. However, I wouldn't travel to, say, Nigeria just to, even though I know there's a higher ratio of single or available men there, I wouldn't travel there for that. If I'm traveling already and I meet someone and he is willing to come here, so we're exchanging time back and forth, I would, but I wouldn't necessarily travel to another country. I wouldn't mind dating, like, you know, Pinky said, I wouldn't mind dating outside my culture, outside my ethnicity here, but it's a lot of investment emotionally to be in another country falling in love. That's a lot of work. Now I know men tend to do it. You know, they'll fly to Dominican Republic just to find a wife, fly to Colombia just to get a girlfriend. I know men do it, but for a woman,
that's what they.
What's number? Because in some cultures you can have more than one wife.
Yeah,
well, yeah.
I don't think 60% of them are going there to find a wife.
Oh, wife. Wife.
Although my ex-husband got married to someone.
See?
So he's 1%.
What you said? What I was saying?
Who say Latino men are the most romantic? Llanos said that? Is Llanos type that in there?
I'm not typing anything.
I think it's you, Llanos.
That's why
I'm not typing anything.
That's
Okay, I didn't see. Oh, I see it here. I couldn't see it here.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Marcelino, go on with
There's a lot
your.
of truth to that.
Okay, now I see. Now it come up.
I know Louis head, okay?
What's that?
His head growing about the
No.
So then I guess what Marcelino's saying is it's not true just about the women, it's also true about the Latino men.
Look, Louis.
Most definitely. But listen,
I've
growing up Latino, I was more affectionate. Growing up in my family, we were definitely affectionate people. So that's how we were brought up, you know what I mean, to show affections. And that's just culturally how we are.
Yep. Man, used to be all over each
No,
other
I
in Central Heights.
got the best of both worlds.
Who used to be all over each other in Central Hayaba?
Well, most Hispanic people, and so in Central High, relationship always used to be intense. Always holding hands over each other. Yeah, we didn't display much affection like that when we were coming up in high school.
Because my mother would have thrown a shoe in my head if she see me walk and she class her. We would hold it, man. What? No, sir.
So you're playing good?
Can't do that. I ain't saying you go to look man. I ain't saying you go to look man. No, I couldn't do that.
Exactly.
My second love language, my second choice was physical touch. And I've said it many times over that I'm a very affectionate person. I like to touch, hold, feel, like to be in presence. That's why I can't really for the online dating and all. I haven't tried it, but
they have to be in the
I
vicinity.
gotta be in the presence. Yeah.
Okay.
I want to be next to you. I want to hold you. I want to touch you.
Marilyn said, I heard the French men are the most romantic.
The French.
French. My family
French like what? Like Haiti
Me
French?
and Karita is half French, and it's not just the men; it's the women. Me and Karita half French, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my mom is, like her maternal family is from Belgium, so. Mm-hmm.
Well, my father is St. Lucia.
That's interesting. Maybe I should travel abroad and see if I meet
You
a
never
friend.
know. Well, okay. One of the things that we had told everybody to do was to watch the movie
From scratch.
Who has suggested that movie? Because I'm ready to fight. I was
Okay, wait, but Lisa,
Lisa,
Louis
Louis me and
and
watch it.
Rita,
Them
they
two.
suggested it, right? And then I was telling Pinky, I said, Pinky, have you watched it yet? She was like, no, she was having some issues with her Netflix. And I was like, maybe you might not really want to watch it because it is emotionally charged.
It is heavy.
I will be honest, it
Every
doesn't
episode.
have necessarily the nicest ending, but it's the story, right?
That's what I said.
I disagree.
Well, I mean, it did have a good ending at the end. It did, but in terms of the love story, it was kind of sad.
But love
right?
never dies, though. Love never dies.
Right. But again, it showed that even when she went abroad, she actually wasn't going there for love, right? And so to me, that was actually one of the messages because you know, they tell you to do the things you love, live in your purpose, live enjoying your life, and that person will come to you. And to me, that's what it spoke volumes to me about because she went to do what she wanted.
Marilyn from scratch.
It's called what? From Scratch. It's a series. It's like an 8-part series on Netflix, and it's actually a true story.
Yes.
And was written, directed, produced by the what is her name? Amy. And her sister. So it's really it's an interesting. I mean, there's so many takeaways from it. But again, it speaks volumes to if you're open to and actually maybe not even expecting it, you can find love with someone completely unexpected, you know, anywhere.
Yeah,
but you know, this whole thing about this.
What Lisa had to say about that, Lisa was a little charged just now about that, actually. You want to give us some kind of little...
Because when, I can't remember what it was you or Karita, when you was like, oh, you love it, you know, it's about food or something like that you had said. And
food and art. Food and...
What?
Oh, yeah.
Food and art.
Yeah, so this is what my emotions went into. Like, okay, this is gonna be about food from scratch, probably about cake. He probably own a chocolate shop. That's where my space was. Up in the morning, 6 episodes later, I there on my sofa just bawling. You hear me? Listen, jeez, I'm breath.
I learned about this series through Tamara Hall. Because Amy was on Tamara Hall and she was talking about Nino and stuff like that. And I said, oh, this sounds really cute because I'm a hopeless romantic. You could get me a chick flick any day, right? And so I love...
I'm not, though. I'm not. Wow.
Love stories. And even with me, like, by episode 3 and 4, I'm like, wait. I wasn't prepared. I wasn't prepared for all of this. Right.
Oh, Desiree said
I was so invested in the love story that I just could not stop watching. And I watched every episode. I stayed up till like 4:30. I looked busted for work the very next couple hours.
If I had watched that,
it was like I couldn't believe it. And so now that I know there's a book, I want to go read the book because
no, that's trauma. Why would you put yourself through that twice?
Man, let me tell you, if I had watched that,
because the book is so much better.
Oh God, Karita, you are a hopeless romantic.
You know, into more detail in the reading.
Why you need more details that you know how it ends?
I want to read the book.
You know how it is, you know how it
I so
ends.
glad Debbie warned me beforehand, and I so glad. I thank God we're walking into it because my Netflix would not work. We couldn't get it to work, and then when Debbie
Pinky,
told me, I get it to work
Pinky.
within an hour.
You should try it. It's good viewing. You really should.
No,
Janos,
Pinky, listen to your Korean sister. You do not need this
I am
movie.
not. I am not. Let me tell you, I watched The Notebook one time to the
Hold
end.
on.
One time to
That's
the end.
another one.
I cry so hard. I run out the theater. I have run out of theaters from bawling, like crying
Yes,
so hard.
That's too much.
It's more emotionally charged than the Notebook.
I am not. I can't.
It's like 8 episodes of the Notebook.
I ain't watching that thing. Not even.
I
the
think
start.
that's actually what made it more emotionally charged is that it was a series versus like a movie. You know what I'm saying? I think they wouldn't.
So Pinky, what that means is they drag you out for episode 4, episode 5, then you start getting comfortable again, and once you get comfortable again, they mash you up in episode 6. It's just no.
Look, I could feel my throat right here, right now. Like no way,
No.
way.
Let me read something to you. My son, he gonna be mad because he watching on YouTube, right? He sent this text to me in regards to our topic. He said, "I promote same ethnicity. Being with anyone that's not Black change for him. Changes your ideology, and they could never understand what it's like being Black in the world we live in now. They'll either downplay it or try to change your views as the days go on." That's his 27-year-old view.
Salute to the young man. Yes.
So I mean, again, I think for some people, if you are destined and you really want a relationship, you really want that partner, and you're having difficulties, again, it could be something you haven't.
But I heard sometimes you find love in the most
unexpected places, and that's why they tell you you're supposed to.
You just you have to let chemistry be your guide in a sense.
That is the key.
I don't know about no chemistry be your guide, idiot. But anyway,
it's about chemistry. At the end of the day,
it's about chemistry.
Very much
you
so.
can have chemistry and a relationship don't go no way. So let me just.
I had to talk about this post that Nas put up, and he mentioned about he've had women with big butts just take him on, but it's not like he's been attracted to that, but he ain't take them serious or other other things about other women that it's like that's all it was for that moment. He said, but it was that quirky woman with that that woman with that quirky smile and that fun personality that really pulled him in, and it's about the chemistry. At the end of the day, is that bond between him and that individual that really made the difference.
Right.
So really and truly is about that. I mean, for me, definitely, because
you have to have chemistry, but you have to also have compatibility.
Yeah, but
you could have chemistry with somebody and not have compatibility.
I believe in taking the leap and learning about someone. I mean, any of us in any situation that we get in, we have to learn about whoever it is we get involved in. Even if it's somebody from within the same ethnicity, the same race, same tone, next door neighbor, no matter who it is. So what difference does it make if you come from Russia and I come from Jamaica? It's about individuality. It's about who you are as a person and being with someone and trying to figure out, can this work? And if it doesn't, you try again.
Right.
So, well, I think for Lino and Amy, they both left home. They didn't know that, but they both had that yearning to experience something different. And they both left home. And I guess their energies just were like
because
magnetic.
It was a chance encounter. They literally bumped into each other. That's all.
But this is what I want to say about that whole thing. It's what Lisa said from the beginning when she said, try, hook up, link up for life. It's being open. I think the problem that we are facing within our culture, and I don't want us to not deal with this issue, is the fact that we have men saying that they prefer other cultures and other races because we are not showing up as women. And I think that issue we need to address because it is not all of us and it's not all of them. It's being open. And if you could find bad women in our culture and in our race, you will find them elsewhere also. So it's not about overall women being this, that, and the other, and man being this, that, and the other. It's the fact that you open and you're looking for somebody and you just happen to find a person in another culture or another religion or another whatever. And a lot of times we judge these situations. And that's what we need to get away from, judging these situations like, oh, look at them, because we don't get offended that our men choose other women over us, you know?
Pinky, I don't get offended, but I think if you want to date, if I want to date a white man, I go date a white man because of him. If I date a white man because I tired of black man, that's something else.
That's exactly.
That's not the same thing. And so a lot of times when people date outside their race, they always have some negative thing to say about their own race. And
Right.
that's where it becomes problematic. If you
Right.
have a problem with black woman, go talk to your mother about it. Don't post and say black woman is this and black woman is not submissive. Unless you dated every single black woman, you can't say that, because
Right.
Caribbean woman is the most submissive. Listen, when we were growing up, we had woman in love with man bad, and that man was doing nothing. Was
I know.
taking them to the fair maybe once a year, maybe see them together at festival. Everyone was not doing a single thing. They won't pay no bills. They won't buy them no Gucci chain. They won't buy them no Lee and Polo. They won't do
taking them to
none of that.
a date.
And we was right there. I know women who grew up like this. They grew up with men who did absolutely nothing but look cute. Right? So you can't say black woman because we black too. So when you say this, you can't find black woman to do this or find black women to do that, you're talking about somebody specific. You're talking about your ex. You might be talking about your mother and all, but leave us out of it. Date whoever you want, but leave us out of it. I wouldn't go
100%.
date a Russian and be like, I can't find a good black man, because I didn't date all of them. I just happened to have a really wonderful experience with this white man, and that's where I'm at. And that's where you know, okay, this is real love. But if it comes to,
I also know somebody who refused to date their own race. They just really had 2 bad experiences and like, I'm not dating that kind, right?
that's
I don't
self-hatred.
want to go into specifics, so this is Facebook. And so
That's self-hatred. That's self-hatred.
But they went and dated other races and still falling in the same issue. So like I had to tell myself, like, you know what? Sometimes we need to take a step back and look at ourselves, because maybe it's not the race or the culture or the ethnicity.
It is not the race and it's not the culture or the ethnicity.
You are looking at, or things that you value, really you don't. And so you're finding the bad weeds, and they're all throughout the world.
Right, all throughout the world, in every culture. And Lisa, I'm so glad you said that, because, you know, you hear this all the time and it's quite offensive, right?
It's very offensive.
That black woman, we don't cook, we don't clean. And it's like you said, Lisa, coming from the Caribbean, that's what we know. You know,
we from the Caribbean, when we were growing up, it was like, oh, this island versus that island. You know, it was the same nonsense, if you ask me, right?
Same
don't
stuff.
date from this island, don't date from that. Like, why?
But finish that thought, Pinky. Finish.
Yes, I was saying that that is our culture, right? So when we come to the, you know, America, and we hear this about black women, we are those black women, right?
Right.
And we are submissive, right? And I was talking to a friend one time. I was like, look, home, they don't even take you on a date, like you said. Like my first boyfriend, I don't even think he took me on a date for like months, but we were done boyfriend and girlfriend. You know what I'm saying?
You go fair together. You go fair together. You might go festival, might go village together, and that's it.
I don't, yeah. In different cars and so, and it wasn't a date. You went to the village and you meet them and they meet you, but it wasn't a date. You just meet up, you know. So it wasn't even a date. And this is the thing too that we need to address it, because it has created a division within our race, men against women,
right?
And we got Mr. Samuels, God rest his soul, that kind of encouraged a lot of this behavior, because, you know, to be talking about, oh, women are this and women are that, and we don't deserve the high valued men actually devalues women, right?
Yeah.
To say that you don't deserve the high valued man because you're this, you're that, you're that, you're the other. What he did was devalue these women. And how does that build anybody, any relationship, any culture to devalue when we need each other to be in a relationship, right?
Well,
so then we have a great divide here.
true. But we gonna table that conversation for something else, because my biggest thing tonight is to think outside of the box. And anybody who seriously thinks that they are ready to be in a relationship, to pursue a relationship and show up healthy in a relationship, and is willing to come on our Linked Up for Life, especially some men, we really, 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 or you know somebody that would be willing. I mean, we literally just ask you some questions, but it gives you some time to really to do self-reflection, if nothing else. And it gives you an opportunity to put yourself out there, and maybe you might not necessarily meet your forever, but you might meet, you know, a new friend. You never know. You know what I'm saying? But again, think outside of the box, be open to the possibilities if you are truly seeking a partner, right?
Why I can't? Oh, Karen, probably down your page because Karen, I can't get to it.
Karen said, I don't date certain cultures. They're too rough. They like to buff up women. But again, I want to thank everybody for coming on tonight. Abba, Lisa, Karita.
Before we cut off, guys, Abba, you barely say anything tonight. Did you want to add anything?
Yeah,
He's taking it all in.
I'm taking it in.
Yeah, but you need to maybe add a little something.
Y'all been doing such an exceptional job.
After he told he got his story out.
Abba, we're thinking about a stripper, I don't know, isn't it? Abba thinking about a stripper, I don't know.
My son.
I'm sure those skills came in and point at some, sometime,
You would appreciate that.
Abba ain't saying a word. His forehead is just glistening.
Exactly. I sweated.
But again, thank you all for joining us tonight, and we will be back next week Thursday. I want to tell everybody, please be safe, and because we're still living in this crazy world. But see you back here next week Thursday.
Alrighty.
Have a good night, guys.
Bye.
Wishing everyone good things, great things, and beautiful things.
Likewise.
Good night, everyone. Have a great weekend.